This is KGW News at 11.
We begin tonight with breaking news. People are being told to be ready to evacuate from a brush fire burning in a rural part of Marion County. This is video of the flames just in from our crew on the scene. Those flames, we were told, were threatening a number of homes, but we've just learned they aren't anymore. Good news there. This is happening near Silver Falls State Park. Here's a map. It's about an hour south of Portland and just east of Salem. And fire crews say they've actually left the scene at this point, and they've now left the fire in the control of the owner of the property where it's burning. They say this started when that owner was burning timber earlier tonight and the fire got out of hand. At one point, the flames were within 100 yards of homes. But as we said, thankfully, the fire is no longer threatening those homes.
I want to tell them that they are secure to be in their homes. I feel very good about the suppression that happened tonight and the dozer line that is there. Those folks just need to be diligent about being prepared when you live in this kind of an environment.
So the fire has burned about 10 acres at this point. And again, we do have a crew on the scene. They sent us this video within the last hour. We'll bring you any more updates as we get them. In the meantime, let's bring in meteorologist Joe Ranieri now. And Joe, it feels strange to be talking about brush fires in November.
It really does. And typically, once you get into the later part of September, early part of October, when we typically kind of see that fall rain move through, we're kind of done with any threat of brush fires or wildfires. Well, we saw a lot of rain in September. We saw dry conditions for October and even drier conditions so far for the month of November, at least for the first part of November. As we look at the futurecast, this is the European model. We are going to be seeing a front brush on by early tomorrow morning. It's not going to be impacting folks near where that fire is burning, but as you just heard from that property owner, it seems like the crews did get a good handle on it. And the winds will pick up a little bit, but showers will start to move into that area late tomorrow afternoon and the early part of the evening. This is a weak system. I'm expecting to see maybe 1/10 of an inch of rain. More rain is in the forecast. Look at Monday night. It gets downright wet. We desperately need the rain. Obviously, as you can just see, it's very dry throughout much of our area. And we are going to be seeing that a good part of Monday and into Tuesday as well. As we look at the other thing that crews are going to be dealing with here the next few hours, kind of breezy conditions at times. There's no watches and warnings because of the winds, but gusts can be anywhere from about 18 to 20 miles per hour. As we go throughout tomorrow, things will kind of quiet down. But again, as we look at the weather headlines in terms of the rainfall so far this month, we've seen just over 1/2 of an inch of rain. This is Portland's numbers, but it's just as dry in the Salem area. Normally, we should be, at this time of the month, we should be seeing close to 3 inches of rain. Monthly average for the entire month of November, over 5 inches, and rain early part of next week, but things will start to dry out once again. All the details on that coming up, Maggie, in about 10 minutes.
All right, Joe, thank you. And we should say we'll have the latest on the fire online as well. Now, though, to continuing coverage on a local veterinarian who has had his license revoked or suspended 3 times in 2 states. He's also been charged with falling asleep during surgery and trying to spay a male cat. And then as of this week, he is facing 2 felony counts for abusing a puppy. The puppy's name was Blue, and his owner says he died the next day. After all of that, though, Dr. Daniel Kohler is still legally allowed right now to treat your pet. And that really infuriates these people. They protested in front of the companion pet clinic in Beaverton today. Kohler practices there and at another location in Gresham. He can do that right now because the state is refusing to take action regarding his license until these latest abuse charges are resolved in court. People here today said he has abused more animals. One woman told us he applied harsh topical and other treatments on her cat.
To this day, we have had to give him medicines and treatments for the reaction on his back. The next day we went in and the vet said he could have gotten cancer, but he was lucky that he didn't. My mom went into hysteria. She thought we were going to lose our cat for good.
I was just terrified. I was disgusted. I don't know. I think he's a monster for what he does to animals.
So that was Blue's owner right there. We first brought you his story last night. Tonight, we went to track down Dr. Kohler at his home to ask him about all of this. He wasn't there. Clinic staff have also declined to put us in touch with him. We should note, talked to staff from several other companion clinics in the area, and they, at a couple locations, told us they have no affiliation with Dr. Kohler, but they're getting calls from frightened and furious pet owners about this story. Moving on tonight, police say an intoxicated driver hit two people walking along West Burnside this morning. And specifically, they say this crash happened between Northwest 14th and 17th. We're told one of the victims, a man, was taken to the hospital in critical condition. The other, a woman, has minor injuries. Police arrested 39-year-old Ian Couples. He's facing charges of DUI, assault, and reckless driving. Well, now to an update on a consumer alert. The new season's beef recall has expanded again to include fresh and frozen meat. At this point, 4 people in Oregon have gotten sick from this after eating ground beef that apparently was contaminated with E. coli. Luckily, all have recovered. This new expanded recall, though, now includes steaks, roasts, ready-to-cook mixes, frozen beef bones, and house-made beef products. The Portland-based grocery chain is offering full refunds for those products. And for more specifics on the recall, visit kgw.com. Over to politics now. Former Vice President and 2020 Democratic presidential contender Joe Biden was in Portland today. He made a stop at a private home, this one seen here, and there's Biden, fundraising for his campaign. Cameras, though, weren't allowed inside, but donors and supporters talked to KGW's Brittany Falkers about Biden's visit.
Former Vice President and 2020 Democratic presidential contender Joe Biden made a quick entrance and exit Sunday, avoiding the media at a private campaign fundraiser in the Dunthorpe area.
Mr. Vice President.
Supporters and donors filled this private home for the chance to see and hear from Biden. That includes high-profile local figures like Beaverton Mayor Denny Doyle and Jordan Schnitzer, who walked to the home while others were shuttled in.
How are you?
Congressman Kurt Schrader was there too, throwing his support behind the former vice president.
I think he's going to win. He's one of those few charismatic individuals that when you meet him and you talk to him, you know, he really cares about you.
Cameras weren't allowed inside the event, but we could hear Biden's speech from just outside. He covered much of what you'd expect while addressing the crowd: worries about corruption within the current administration, foreign policy, and income equality for the middle class. Subjects former U.S. Attorney Dwight Holton says fits with Portland's democratic ideals.
Frankly, I think the vice president understands our values, understands our progressive approach to problem solving in Oregon, and he's got very specific ideas about how we get there and get it done.
Political expert Len Bergstein says attendees got to see a more personal side of Biden Sunday as he offered up his life experiences to illustrate the issues.
I think people got a really kind of a very personal view of it and kind of cut through a lot of the stereotypes we see on the national narrative about whether or not he's got it going or not.
But some on social media were critical of Biden's visit and the minimum $1,000 price tag to attend. Chris Hoy commented on the location in an affluent neighborhood, saying he doesn't want the vote of the working man, just the votes of the elites. Don Fisher also calling out Biden for today's event, saying in part he'll just keep catering to the elites, not learning any lessons along the way. However, Bergstein is quick to point out that this is still early in the race, and we could likely see the return of Biden in a more public capacity later on.
We are an ATM. We're a place where people come to raise money at this point in the campaign. We're not going to be a battleground state for Democrats, really, and even for the general. But we are a battleground state on a bunch of issues, and I think Biden and the other Democratic candidates, as we get closer to the election, will come here and talk about things that will resonate not only with Oregonians, but with the rest of the country.
All right, that was Brittany Falkers reporting. Biden, by the way, is trailing behind some of his Democratic rivals when it comes to campaign financing. His supporters, who Brittany talked to, though, say they aren't at all worried about money at this point.